grateful that I stood the course. Like, again, I don't pride my college degree on the fact that I went to college. It was more or less I finished what I started. And so that was the longest wait to complete a degree ever in my life. And I'm just grateful that I did it because I saw my son, I finished what I started. That was the most important thing. So no matter how long it takes you to get there, just keep going.
Welcome back to the Too Stubborn to Fail podcast, where we tell stories about overcoming adversity. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We got a very special guest in the building today. It's funny, and we can go into a little bit about how we met later, but the founder of the LaCroix agency, Martisha LaCroix. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to be here, though.
Yes.
Because this has been like a process. And people don't do the process to get here. So I'm grateful to be here. I'm going to say co-founder because in case my husband watch, I want him to be like,
co-founder.
I left him out. You know, we're a partner in this thing. So, but I'm just grateful that you invited me out to come and hang out for a little while.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you not only agreeing to be on the platform yourself, but bringing other people from your agency to be a part of it. And it's a blessing that it's funny how, you know, we met through my job with me approving companies through USC and, you know, how we can turn something that was just a misunderstanding into a good relationship.
That's good. So I'm gonna say let's start with that. Thank you for that part. Because we had a whole situation going on to get that straight with the business, and then you was telling me about what you were doing. I was like, that'd be so cool. And so I was like, yeah, I got a couple of people. And you was like, send them all. I was like, okay, you know. So that's so definitely pick up the phone and call.
Yes.
I'll tell everybody, pick up the phone and call. Whatever it is, pick up the phone and call.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then to add to that, everybody that you know and everybody that knows you needs to know what you do. Because if I didn't tell you that I had a podcast, we wouldn't be here either.
No, sure wouldn't. So that's, tell them definitely. Keep talking about what you're doing, though. Talk
absolutely.
about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just get right into it. Okay. Where are you from?
Originally, Pawley's Island, South Carolina.
Really?
Georgetown County. I'm just
okay.
kidding. But, and so most of the time people say that they're like, where? And then we always say, you know, about 30 minutes south of Myrtle Beach.
Okay.
But I'm a beach girl, island girl. Yeah. I've grown up beach my entire life until I became an adult. So, and I love it. No shade to Columbia.
Yeah,
but
I get it. I mean, we can't compete with the beach.
Can't compete with the beach. I loved it. I always have loved the water. Okay. Always.
So how was it growing up there for you?
So growing up was good. Like, it wasn't like, you know, you'd be like, growing up was a struggle, but I don't think I understood it was a struggle until I became an adult. Because that's how we have something to compare it to. But my grandparents were good. I was mostly raised by them. Even though my mom was in my life. And she wasn't absent or anything. But I have siblings. They're younger than I am. They had more needs than I did. So my grandparents took over the responsibility of me.
Okay.
So I'm a granddaddy's girl to my heart. But, I mean, people laugh because I know how to do things like fix plumbing, hang sheetrock. I could change oil. I could do stuff.
You do it all.
Yeah, because you know, I was with him all the time.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot from him growing up. So I learned a lot of life lessons. They old school, so they like get married, build family. You know, they're all about staying together. Home cooked meals all the time. So growing up, we didn't have a whole lot of money, but I learned so much about community and about life and about family being as I grew over there at the time.
That's a blessing that you got to create that kind of relationship with your grandparents.
Yeah.
Shout out to the traditional grandparent.
Yeah.
Because that's a withering thing at this.
And they real traditional. like they like some old get up at 5, down by 9. Kitchen better be clean. Like they real traditional. And there's some of those things that I still do now. I'm grateful for. I really am. And I want my kids to have that. That's one thing that I wanted them to have, a traditional grandparent uncle. No shade to young grandparents.
Right.
But it's something that
different.
Just the stories the stories they've told me. Even like I'm lucky to say I knew all of my grandfather's siblings. Like they knew me by name. I knew of them or saw them during family reunions, but like been to their homes and they got to meet my oldest child. So there's a relationship in that. Like I love older people anyway, but there's a relationship there that I just value so much.
And I don't know, I can't speak for you, but I would imagine that probably going through the process, it wasn't as great as, you know, looking at it as you're older, appreciating those kind of relationships. And I'm sure they were strict.
Yeah, yeah.
And going through it as a kid, it sucks.
Yeah,
but it's something that you definitely can appreciate now.
Oh, definitely. Definitely appreciate it now. Things like I remember scratching my grandma's scalp. I used to hate doing that.
Yeah.
She would never do like, you be doing it wrong. And but she would be like, she liked it. I'm like, oh my gosh. Just like, even with the things like, I had my son at 17 and that was a total no-go. You know what I mean? And she was like, you're going to get married? I was like, no. No, I would really ruin my life.
Right.
So that traditional part of them was really, really, was good for me growing up.
Okay, so where did, I noticed your last name, where did that come from?
LaCroix, technically.
LaCroix. That's what I was gonna lead with.
Yeah. Well, my husband gave it to me.
Okay.
So I thank God for that. But Martisha actually is from my mom. My aunt named me after my mom. Her name is Marcella.
Oh, okay.
And my middle name is Lenore. So that's named after my dad's name is Leonard. And of course, my dad's last name was Bragg. So it's a laughing thing my husband has that Bragg didn't pay for the stuff right here, but it's on all my legal documents. It's not going nowhere. So it came from his family. It actually, believe it or not, means the cross is what it means.
Okay.
His family is from, I say they're confused. My father-in-law is from Jamaica. My mother-in-law is from Trinidad.
Wow.
His grandmother, he has a grandma from Cuba. He has a grandmama from Venezuela. So they're all confused.
It's a nice mix.
Yeah, so they're all confused island South American people. And so that's where it came from. Now, the running joke is technically I have 4 last names and none of them besides, 2 came from my husband and then 2 I got my grandfather. Actually, on my original birth certificate is my coach, which is my grandfather's last name, and my dad's last name, Bragg.
Oh, wow.
And my husband had 2 last names. So I had to choose. So everybody laughs, like, you got this long name because he had 2 for his mom and his dad. He had both last names on his birth certificate. So technically, that's what people don't know. I supposed to have 4 last names legally, but I can write all that if I wanted to. So I left it the way it is. But that's
a lot of history, though.
It's a lot. One day we'll take the time to. That's what I want to do with my children is really pan out like all of me, even if in the stories, but still like just kind of go and explore that part of us. But yeah, that's how I got. I like the fact I have it though.
Yeah.
The last name is different.
Yeah.
I stand out. People remember me.
Definitely.
But yeah, that's where it came from.
That's cool. But just to go back a little bit, specifically growing up, did you have any representations of entrepreneurship when you were young?
Now I would say yes. At the time, I didn't think of it as that.
Right.
I didn't think of it that's what it was at the time. My grandfather, he was retired Navy. So when I came on the scene, he'd already retired. He'd been working in a place called Booker Gardens. I think he just liked the work, honestly, because he was doing that. I didn't know till he passed. He was a licensed mortician. So I thought he just worked at the funeral home.
Yeah.
I never went in the back. He always brought me. I sit in the front and wait on him. And I would think, he's this licensed. I didn't know until he died. And I was like, wow, so they were always doing something. And then my grandmother, people would come literally around the country to our house. She would make handmade dolls. She would make handmade quilts. And I thought, they just knew her because my grandfather was in the Navy. Well, come to find out, she had her own situation going on, her own business. And I have her old recipe book. So in the front is her pricing list. So she was making money, even though, again, like I said, they old school. She got an allowance from my grandfather. So that money she made was her money. He was like, I know she making money. That's her money. So I think that's where a lot of the entrepreneurship in me came from because they were doing it. Like they were really doing it. And so it was just different to see that I did have that, not knowing it at the time. And then fun fact, if you ever get a chance to, at the McKenzie Museum, my grandmother's quilt is there. She donated to the school of University of South Carolina years, way before she passed. But yeah, her quilt goes on tour with them. That's just a fun fact about my family. We're a little important. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I mean, that's a lot. It's a blessing because there are a lot of people that have no idea about where they come from, or they just never really get a chance to build that relationship with their parents, let alone their grandparents. And like I said, one more time, shout out to the traditional grandparent. I'm loving this conversation already, but we need to pay some bills real quick.
Okay.
So we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Built on a passion and love for art, All Things Design is here to create spaces you will love, and custom designs and memories that will last a lifetime. All Things Design specializes in event design, interior design, corporate design, custom design projects, and home closet organization. And that's just to name a few. Communication is key. We're here for whatever you need. We'll help you solidify your vision and keep in constant contact until your dream is realized. All Things Design, a step above the rest. Be sure to book at allthingsdesign.org. All right, let's get back to this show. Welcome back to the Too Stubborn to Fail podcast, where we tell stories about overcoming adversity. We have the lovely Miss LaCroix in the building today. Just to continue the conversation, I do want to touch on the LaCroix agency.
Okay.
What was the inspiration behind starting that?
Okay, so we'll back up just a little bit. Mm-hmm. I've always done family vacation. So let me put it in perspective. My husband is from Brooklyn, New York. Okay. And people say that, but he from really like Brooklyn, New York, the projects, okay, the real projects. And so, and he said, I'm suburban. He, I'm on he would say other side of the tracks. Yeah. I don't know nothing about that lifestyle. And so growing up, we took family vacation every year. Like, it's not a year that we didn't ever take family vacation. So I was accustomed to summer camp, which a lot of people that look like us ain't accustomed to.
Right.
I went away to summer camp. So I spent the night. I went away. I went to 4-H camp. I've been to Girl Scout camp. I did all of that. And then at the end of the summer, we go on family vacation. Right. So travel was something that I always loved. So when my husband, when I married him, he was in the Marine Corps. And so I didn't want to work a traditional job anymore. I always had a burning desire to do my own thing. Like, my family say I've been a rebel. I'm always the person that's on the over here. Everybody on the right, I'm on the left, right? So I said I want to do my own thing. Church, I was over the hospitality ministry, and I really loved it. So I finished my degree in hospitality, and we moved. Like, literally moved while I was finishing the degree. I wanted to go to law school. That's what I wanted to do. I was like, I could be a hospitality attorney, but law school was 2.5 hours away from where we were stationed. And I was just thinking to myself, my son was in middle school, going to high school. My husband, who knows his schedule, and I was like, I can't make that commute and study and still be present. That was a lot. It'd have been a lot. And so I decided I wanted to start a business. So we originally was called LaCroix Events and Travel. So people thought I sold travel for a long time. Was never what I wanted to do. And so as I've grown and matured in the business, I decided that I loved contract negotiations. Like that was a part of me. Like, I got excited about how we negotiated deals and what we got for our clients. That was so important to me. And so I told my husband one day, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, I said, I think I want to change the name of the business. And he was like, what do I want to change it to? And then I said the LaCroix agency, because we do more than just events now. Right. So we have talent clients now, as many of y'all probably got to meet through the podcast. And then we also will start to do more system stuff, because I've actually been in management over 20 years. I know I look 23, but over 20 years. And so I want to now use those skills that I have acquired over time of the different jobs I did. So that's kind of how we evolved to where we are now. And I like it. I mean, events is fun. I know it's not fun for everybody, but it's fun to me. That's all that matters. It's like, I was telling my son used to play football. Like, when he would get out there on that gridiron, it's like that smell of the field. That's what event space does for me. Like, when I'm in my zone, I'm in my zone, and so I love it. I get to meet new people. I get to know new places. It's a part of me, and I love to travel. So that just kind of helped the fact that I got to do what I love to do. I'm in my vein of where I shine at, and that's why I did it. So I can hear the passion in your voice for what you do. Yeah. But is there anything, if there is anything, what is the least favorite part of what you do? The office work. Yeah. Business, everybody should have, our false lady named Lynn Richardson, and everybody should have a home-based business, so she always says. And as much as you love what you do, you have always got to take care of your business. That's the part I hate. Because I'm like, I can be out here all day, but I still got to do accounting. I still got to do payroll. I still got to, and as you grow, you're going to acquire more problems. Right. But then what I'm learning is what I'm not great at, as long as I know how to do it, I still want to outsource that. I want to shine where I shine, and I want to give people opportunities to shine where they shine too. Right. And that's a different thing too. Sometimes we get so solopreneured. I could do it all myself. why?
Right.
I want to be one to not just jobs per se, but even freelance work where I'm able to serve in my area, but then help somebody else serve where they shine it. And so that's what my worst thing. Even I remember my son, I sent him on a couple of travel things couldn't go. And he was like, "Ma, I'll do this all day." But that set up in that office stuff, you got to do it on the phone. I'm not doing that. Yeah. So I get it. But that's probably my least favorite part about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So when it comes to your clients, do you have an ideal client that you work with?
So here's the thing. You get to a place in business where where they interview you, not interview them.
Right.
I will turn a check down. I don't have the energy to give to people who not my type. Not saying not about liking you, but do you fit what we're trying to do?
Right.
Most of my clients are entrepreneurs and professionals. These are people who are great at what they do, and now they want to have live events. And so, you telling me you want to do, I'm thinking about Hall's Chop House. The Hall's Chop does serve hamburgers, and they're really good.
Right.
You want that, but you can only afford the Wednesdays 4 for $4. I'm not where you want to, because I'm going to ask you what the budget is.
Right.
And when you tell me there's no budget, you're not my client, because everybody has a budget, right? But now I'm in a place where I just kind of feel the client, like I got to hear your passion for what you love and why you want to share that. I got to hear, where you are budget wise, because we don't do large events. We do 200 or less attendees, and it's ideal for a lot of people if I show them how the numbers work. My ideal client, I'm gonna let you do your thing, but I need you to let me be who I am and do what I know how to do. And so most of my clients that I say God put in my viewpoint, in my way, are people who like, yes, I need a Tish on my team. I need a T.LaCroix. They call me T.LaCroix on my team, and that's my ideal client. I interview everybody now. Like I'm in a place where, and I tell everybody, you don't have to take all the money.
Right.
Like it's enough money out here. You don't have to take. You don't have to dial your prices back. I learned it the hard way. I'm telling you that I just wanted to quit. I mean, honestly, like I swear I quit every day. But at a point where I wanted to just not do this anymore. Like, am I valued here? Like I know what I bring to the table. And then it took somebody to say, no, I'm gonna pay the invoice. Like, okay, I could charge these things and do these things, and that what changed my whole perspective. So I mean, now I'm in a place where I don't need as many clients as long as I have the right ones. They stay with me long term. I have clients who've been with me that your audience has met before. Dr. Shamika Mack Sanders, now 8 years. Wow. We have been in a relationship. So, they tend to stick with me. Even when I said, well, we're shifting a little bit, they're like, I don't care. I need you to take care of this, and so I'm grateful for that. So,
man, that's a blessing. And you're right. It's funny how, well, not funny, but I noticed that when, especially earlier on in business, we really just lack that confidence.
Yeah.
And that bleeds over into our pricing. It bleeds over into every aspect of our business where we second guess everything. It's like, am I charging too much or no? But like you said, it's somebody out there that's willing to pay that price. Yeah. So all that's left is you finding your ideal client or customer or whatever that is for you.
Absolutely. For you.
Yep.
And my friends and I do have people that cross over. We have great relationship, and then we have great business relationship. But they know if there's somebody, I'll use Dr. Shamika Mack Sanders. She's my daughter's godmama. I love. We have a personal relationship, but we have made a stance that if this crosses our personal relationship, we'll dead all the business relationship. But you got to realize your family, your friends, they may not be your client, and I think we take support like, oh, they don't support me. But they're not your client. And it's comfortable there. Because, see, you think they know you this comfortable. And I had to learn that. Like, no, they love me and they support me and they got me. But they're not buying my book. They're not buying no event package. They don't have no events,
right.
And I had to be okay with that. And once you get there, you kind of like, okay. You're like, okay.
Man, this is some excellent game we're getting right now. But for those who would like to follow in your footsteps, did you have any tips for any beginners?
One of the things I would tell people to do that a lot of people don't know in event business is they have events for event managers. So definitely network. I've gotten most of my deals, most of the connections I have is because I went to events. I went to events for event planners. I'm constantly educating myself. Constantly. Like I attend on my own 4 to 5 event planner conferences a year where I'm pitching business as far as to a supplier, so like to a city, this is what I have available, but also they have classes. So I would definitely tell you to continue to hone your craft. I chose to get a degree, but here's the thing. My degree was actually because I started college right out of high school. It took me 15 years to get that degree. I was a single mama. I was trying to find myself. There's a whole lot to that. And so I'm grateful I got a degree in hospitality, but you don't have to have a college degree. Right. Definitely get in those rooms with people, and most importantly, bet on yourself. Bet if you don't, it's like the roulette table. Put it all on you. Put it all on you, and people will begin to believe in you. You know, my thing is like, if everybody in the LaCroix household believe in me, what everybody else talking about doesn't matter, because they all rocking with me. They the ones that's up all night when the house look like blown up from events. They're the ones that are packing that stuff up, unpacking that stuff, picking me up from the airport. So as long as they're like, you know, I believe in you, I'm good. I don't, you know, whether they agree, doesn't matter. They be like, Mom, that's what you want to do, babe, do it. I'm proud of you. Do your thing. But they want to be a part of that or not. That was for me. I had to bet on myself. And that was hard now, because I had to unpack some trauma. I had to unpack some trauma to really say, okay, T, you can really do this. So that's what I would tell you. Believe in yourself, get in the right rooms, connect with the right people. And the right people are not the people with all the followers. Let me make that very clear. The right people are people who are going to help you. You will know. When I'm in rooms and I say I'm doing something, it's not too many times that people will say, hey, Tish, call this person. I'm looking for this person. As a matter of fact, I met somebody at a conference that I was working the conference, and she said, I got somebody to connect you with, connected me, gave me the number, and they connected for somebody else. So it's like these rooms that you have to get out. And I love Columbia. Don't get me wrong. I love my state. It's a Carolina girl. But I need you to expand your horizons a little bit. I need you to go to other states where other events are happening that people are going to, because it'll stretch you that you're not the smartest person in the room. And I love that. So that's what I would say.
Man, those are some gems. I completely agree. There is power in networking.
Yeah.
A lot of us, well, I can't say a lot of us, but a lot of people are hindering themselves just because they won't get off the couch. Like you won't find your ideal client in your home.
No.
You got to get out. These events, like you said, you can meet some people that'll change your life.
Yes. Wholeheartedly change. When I say wholeheartedly change your life, I got my first seven-figure earner client from an event I worked for somebody else. And they saw me working, and she was like, I need you. I was like, I'm not coming back. Here's my birthday. No. And she was like, okay, we'll talk later. I'm like, no, and I ended up back with her. But that was because they saw me working someone else's event. I was being myself, and that's how that happened. So if I wasn't in that room, I wouldn't, so you got to put yourself out there. It's uncomfortable, but it's worth it in the end.
Stretching. You got to stretch yourself.
Yes.
I want to touch on a point that you, brought up earlier about the family being a part of the business.
Yes.
Can we speak to, what's the value of having everybody be all in for you?
Okay. So a couple of things. Again, I'll tell you, I follow this lady. I always plug her because she's a great financial person, Lynn Richardson. Y'all got kids. And y'all kids need to work. Like, if you have a business, and I tell my sister all the time, they learn so much from you when they're a part of what you're doing. It doesn't feel like it's a threat to them. Like, Mom, you're in this business taking all your time from us, versus we're all doing it together. Right. So that's one of the things I think I had to learn. Like I said, my son, my oldest, he hates the office work. Hates it. However, he loves post-production stuff. He loves video editing. So I figured out how to incorporate what he loved into our brand. Okay. Even though he understands, of course he's been with me forever, but he understands the business. And so I think it's important that not that you force them to do what you want to do, but that we have a clear understanding of where we're trying to go. I can't speak to everybody's marriage. I can only speak for mine. That's something that we do. We sit down and say, okay, this is the vision for our marriage, for our home, what we're trying to do business wise, because I don't want it to die with me. Not saying they're going to run it in-house. They need somebody else to do it. But at least I set them up to have something more than one thing, right? And so them supporting, but really mostly them doing what they love. I think that's the difference. Like sometimes we tend to say, no, you got to do this right here. Well, you may have a child that loves videos. Okay, well, they like to post videos. Let them record your stuff. Let them do your posting for you. Groom them. A lot of my nieces and nephews will tell you they have intern with me because their parents like, can they stay with you for a short? They know how to file paperwork. They know how to answer the phone. They know how to send emails. And those are skills that they didn't have to wait till after high school or college to get. They got it in-house, and I could write a referral for them. So that's how important that is. You kind of put them steps ahead because you've given them experience that they don't have the freedom, right, to mess up.
Right.
So for me, that's one important to me. Their support is important because you need that vibe. I always think about Black men and how, there's a battle outside. They don't want to battle inside.
No.
And so my thing was to have an environment where I'm inside and this is conducive and we're together and nobody's going to break this bond and no one's going to mess this up. And, we're figuring this thing out together, that they are clear that I'm going to travel and, we're doing this and I'm doing that. So it's always great communication. And it's important for me to let them know I'm not just doing it for me. I'm not just doing it for y'all. I'm doing it for like 8 more generations. I'm trying to really push that we can have something because I'm a strong believer that struggle does not equal work ethic. Okay. Struggle does not have to be the way of life. Like that, you have to pay your dues. Yes, you got to put in the work, but that's not what I want for them. So I think that if you have a support, and I'm gonna say, so if you're single or don't have that, who are your closest friends that rock with you no matter what? Who's gonna, listen, they're gonna buy the book, may never read the book, but they're gonna buy it and cheer you on. Those are people you need to hone in on and definitely connect with to make sure you're building that long term for support.
Man, that level of support is you can't beat it. You can't beat it. And like you said, even if you don't necessarily have family or a significant other, you have somebody in your life that can help with that support. And it's kind of harsh, but I would say that if you have the people but they're not willing to support the business, you got to find new people.
Why are you attracting those people though?
Right.
That's the part we miss. Like they don't support, but what are you doing that gives off this energy of not wanting to support? Do you support? That was one of the biggest things I had to make sure I did. Like when people call me, I try my best. Like listen, my husband would tell you, I'm at graduations, I'm at basketball games, I'm picking up the phone. If it drops on my heart, I'm like, hey, just checking on you. Like I make it a point with no thing in return, but I make it a point to say, hey, I'm checking on people because I want to sow those kind of seeds. So when people say nobody support me, I ask the question, who do you support? First things first, do you sow the seeds of support? Even if it's a share or it's a like or it's a a plug or it's a thank you, whatever that is, are you doing the same thing? So definitely check yourself, but then also check your circle at the same time.
I 100% agree with that. I'm enjoying this conversation so much. It's not even feeling like an interview. It's just like a great conversation. But we gotta go ahead and pay some more bills, and then we'll be right back with the Too Stubborn to Fail moment. Real Dope Photography is more than just dope photos. It's a celebration of your brand, beauty, and confidence at any stage of your life. Our goal is to capture the greatest moments in your life and the world around you. Visit our website at realdopephotography.com. That's realdopephotography.com. And the real is spelled REEL. Like a reel of film. Make sure you set up your free consult today. Mention the Too Stubborn to Fail podcast on your booking form in the How Did You Hear About Us section, and you can receive a 20% discount. All right, let's get back to the show. Welcome back to the Too Stubborn to Fail podcast, where we tell stories about overcoming adversity. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Today we have the lovely Miss LaCroix in the building. I'm gonna go ahead and keep saying that. Just to continue the conversation, what I always like to wrap the interviews up with is a Too Stubborn to Fail moment. Basically, a moment where you had to overcome adversity that sticks out to you the most. What's that moment for you?
Oh my gosh, I'm just trying to think. You know what? All the women who've had kids at a young age. I'm talking about teenage parents who were statistically, we've been, told that our kids we would have more children. We would have, we were out there like that, or, or you were going to be no more than just whatever that was, on food stamps, section, all that stuff. I'm grateful that I stood the course. Like, again, I don't pride my college degree on the fact that I went to college. It was more or less I finished what I started. And so that was the longest wait to complete a degree ever in my life. And I'm just grateful that I did it, because I saw my son, I finished what I started. That was the most important thing. So no matter how long it takes you to get there, just keep going.
Man,
keep going.
That's powerful. That actually reminded me of a point that I didn't get to that I wanted to discuss with you. We actually covered it last time you were in the studio. Well, we touched on it a little bit, but motherhood, what does that mean to you?
Motherhood is different for me, because I think we have in common that our children have
that gap.
That gap. So my oldest is 25 and the baby is 3.
Right.
And so motherhood is not perfection. I think we try to be this perfect person, this unbroken person, this unbothered person. We try to be super mom or super parent to our children. And my son taught me this one thing, that he wants me to be real mom. Granted, he don't disrespect me and stuff like that, but he wanted to see the realness of me. In his mind, my mom always handled it. She don't complain. She don't say, she keeps it moving. And we had a situation occur in our family, and I got home. I just literally just buried my father. 2 of our family members had COVID, and my son had to hold it down because I was in Alabama. And I walked in and I said, son, tears in my eyes, like, I'm overwhelmed. I just need a minute to think. And he says, wow, this is the first time ever in your life I've ever heard you say that. And so just the openness of that for me, you know what I mean? To being his mom, he respects me as his mom, but he saw me as a human being. And so that was so powerful. Being a mom, I've been a parent of some type all my life, since I've been 6 years old. Like, right. I've had my brothers, I've had my godchildren, I've had my children. And it's an impactful moment. Your children see you, they see how hard you go, they see you doing things. But I would tell any mama, make sure, one, you deal with your childhood trauma. Deal with your trauma. Whatever that trauma is, deal with your baby daddy trauma, deal with your abandonment trauma, deal with your daddy trauma, deal with your mama trauma, deal with your trauma. Because we project it on them sometimes. Deal with your trauma, love yourself, and be free enough to say, I've apologized to my children. I'm different now, because like, I know you got to be. I'm an adult parent to the adult child, right. But I'm a 3-year-old parent to the little person, and they need different parts of me, which I think keeps me young. But motherhood is so good. It's really, really good for me. It makes me want to do more. It makes me want to make sure when I've poured out everything I've had for them, and not just financially, but spiritually, emotionally. Do they know that they're loved? They don't have to search for love. They know that they're loved. Period. Right. And so that's important for me.
Man, that was powerful. And could you kind of another thing that we touched on about motherhood was you're not the same person for the first child as you are for the last. So what can you kind of describe motherhood when you first started versus now?
So motherhood, when I first started, I was struggling. And I don't mean like struggling like financially. I mean, I was depressed. I attempted suicide. I had got into a marriage because I had no choice. Well, I'm saying I didn't have a choice. Let me not say that, because we do have choices. But I made the choice to go into this marriage that wasn't good for me. But I was looking at, I think my husband said, you've always been a chess player. So anything I've done, there's a reason why I've done it. I don't regret any decision that I made. I know people say I don't regret anything in life. I made those decisions based on the mindset I had at the time. And I own them. Right. I own them all. And so William is my survivor child. Like, so when I see him and how he may relate to people sometimes, we got to remember it was just me and him for a long time. It was just me and him. I was figuring it out. I was trying to find who I am. I was, like I said, depressed. I was going through a lot of anxiety at the time, trying to figure out how I could make sure we eating every day. And truth be told, immediate family members that I had did not rock with me like that. And so when I married my husband, now my only husband in my mind, but when I married him, he needed my husband more than I needed him. So when I look at their dynamic, people would think if I don't tell people that my husband legally adopted him, you would think that's his natural birth son. And in his mind, that's my natural birth son. And so that was important to me. So he's like, work all the time. He'll talk about like, Mom, you was figuring it out. You was finding yourself. And the beauty that he gives me grace. Because you would think your older kids look at the little one, because the little one get a little, the young ones get a little more. Like they would have that jealous spirit. And he doesn't have that. He's like, I get it. You're like different. You're free. You're doing, like she's been home with me for the first 2 years of her life. Versus William, 6 months, he was in daycare because I couldn't be at home. And so I've cried a lot out of gratitude because I got to deal with her, but I'm grateful that my children don't have that. Well, Mom, she gets this, and he doesn't do that. Oh, he's like, whatever I can do to help you with her, whatever you need. He talked to her a little bit, but they siblings, so I get that. But for the most part, I'm different. You know what I mean? I'm not angry. And I was like, I was a depressed, angry Black woman, like for real. And it wasn't from a place of I wanted to be that at all. But that was hurt, unresolved issue. I'm a believer of Jesus and therapy. That was unresolved issues. That was dad issues and mom issues that I had to work through. And we passed them, and I didn't want that. So I purposely worked on me. So with the little one, I'm free. I laugh a little more. I don't take stuff so serious. And a lot of people think I am still serious a lot. But my son will say, Mom, you just let her do stuff. Like you would never, let me do those things. And so I know that I'm freer. He doesn't say it in a sense of jealousy. It's a sense of laughing, like, I'm my mama, now you know how you are. And so I'm more free to like let her grow, let them be themselves, both of them, like let them be themselves, let them grow in the area. So I just think that I'm more loose with it to the extent of the freedom of learning, the freedom of growing that I wasn't before. I was really militant, like, okay, we gotta get this done, I gotta go here. And it's the freedom to love myself. Because I didn't, honestly, when I had him, I did not love me. I didn't love me enough to choose me. Right. And that's a lot of things I think when they have different experiences with you. I'm still mom. Like now I'm not gonna use it for this podcast, but I was out there like that. But William will tell you, my mom went to PTO me, she was working, but I had a double life. Like I'm being honest, I was two different people, but I wanted to make sure he saw me a certain way. Now he older, I could tell him some stuff. He thinks it's funny now, but that's important to me. So I would tell any mom, especially because we came with baggage, like, and give your parents some grace. Like, we go from loving them to judging them. Not realizing that they need some grace too, and so that's what I want my kids to like, some grace. And so to have a son who understands that and sees me now, and he even says, Ma, you're totally different. And you're so much more, want to be around me more, because I think at the time he's like, I don't know, this lady crazy. But yeah, that's what I would say. I love it though. Man, I love it.
Thank God for growth.
Yeah, listen, and the people who know me now be like, I'm like, listen, you did ask me that new me that over there. They be like, so she's come a long way, So yeah, thank God for growth. Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Yeah. But before we get out of here, it's two things. One, how can the people find you?
Okay, so if you want to follow the business and connect with us on that and hear more what we have doing with that, you can follow us at LaCroix ET. That's LaCroix, X as in X-ray, ET. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I think it's all on there. Yeah, I'll be trying. I'm like, I think you would help me with that. And then, of course, if you want to follow me personally, you can follow me, the T.LaCroix, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. I think that's all of them. Yeah. Okay. Absolutely.
Okay. Make sure you tap in. And we always appreciate ideal clients.
Exactly. Ideal clients.
But thank you for your time today. This has been another amazing episode. Today we had none other than Martisha LaCroix in the building today. And make sure you tap in. This has been the Too Stubborn to Fail podcast. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. We appreciate each and every one of you, and we are signing out.